order for January 13th, 2025. Please stand for the pledge. Roll call.
Mr. Lohman,
Here.
Mr. Hyab,
Here.
Mr. Heiss,
Here.
Approval of the minutes for the regular meeting held December 9th, 2024.
Got some directions, Chuck? Or
Yes. You want me to tell you? Or John?
Mr. Heiss pointed out before the meeting a couple of spelling errors that I've already corrected in a proposed final draft. Is there anything else?
that's all I caught. I move we approve the minutes as corrected for the regular board meeting.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Lohman,
Yes.
Hyab,
Yes.
Heiss,
Yes.
Approval of the minutes for the special meeting held January 6th, 2025.
So move.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Lohman,
Yes.
Hyab,
Yeah.
Heiss.
Yes.
I have final drafts of those for your signature here.
Approval to pay the bills as have been presented over the past month.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Lohman,
Yes.
Hyab,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
Correspondence. I've just got a few things. I want to welcome everybody back. New year, it's 2025. I was elected president. Dennis is vice president for this year. There was a Board of Health meeting today at 4 o'clock. Weekly Fernald Preserve programs. And then there was a WestJet meeting last week. The January 9th, Thursday at 5:30. The organization meeting for the year. Willie Pope is the president, and I'm the vice president for the second year in a row. Gwen Lawhorn is still on. Everything is, they're sound financially and staffed pretty well. And Bob has been on with them for 30 years this year. And they're kind of doing a thing of having someone like second in line just in case, because he does all the book work and stuff. And so Gwen Lawhorn is kind of training with Bob to do that because that's what she does for a living. So if something, Bob couldn't do it or would need a backup, Gwen would be able to do it. And I think Nadine has someone kind of behind her too that can do everything she does. I had an email from someone from Wiley Road about dogs barking. I don't know do we have any kind of ordinance about that or anything, or is that something they would have to call the SPCA about? Like at night, they said that their neighbors' dogs are always barking.
I would think you'd call the sheriff's office for disturbing the peace.
Okay, I'll email. I told her I'd bring it up tonight. She couldn't be here.
Because we don't have any.
Right, we have no
ordinance.
teeth to do anything. And then I had someone ask about hunting on our, I guess over by Blue Rock, in that park. You probably got it too, I think. Did you reply to him or not?
Replied and answered that we didn't allow park hunting on Crosby Township property.
Okay, that's what I figured. And I know Chuck said the same thing, so that was taken care of. And that's all I've got. Dennis?
I have have correspondence. ICRC winter meeting is January the 23rd. I'm a delegate from here, but I will not be able to make that meeting. Had correspondence with Johnson Control. They turned our account over to a collection agency. We didn't pay the sales tax, and I guess they couldn't figure that out, so they turned it over to JCI Collections. I got a hold of them, discussed with the lady what was going on. Matt sent an exemption for sales tax for the township, and that has been rectified. So that's taken care of. I got correspondence from the state auditor's office for fraud risk assessment. It was a questionnaire, and I filled that out and sent it in. And then currently I have a boundary and annexation survey to fill out for Crosby Township, and nothing has changed from the last time, but I'll go online and make sure that the boundaries are correct. And that's all I have for correspondence.
Thanks, Dennis. Chuck?
Yeah, I have something from the 2025 Ohio Emergency Response Exercise. This relates to the pipeline. We have a pipeline going through Crosby Township. They're having meeting throughout Ohio. The closest one we have is in Cincinnati on January the 22nd at 5:30. I went to one of these years ago, so if you can't make it in person, you can also do it online. The online training is trainingcenter.pdigm.com. You got that? So, as far as I know, we never had any problem with our pipeline in Crosby Township. So, yeah, the other thing is the Governor DeWine signed House Bill 315. This will take effect 90 days, which will be April 2nd, 25. There's like 17 different items in this bill related to township. So, but it's going to take effect until April 2nd. So if you're interested in looking at all that, it is online.
You said effective April 2nd?
April 2nd, yeah, take 90 days after the governor signed it. The other thing I received was from the Ohio Township Association Risk Management Authority, also known as OTARMA. This is I guess a quarterly update. This is winter 2024-2025. It's not like a newsletter. It's kind of what happened. So, and then I also got a newsletter from the front of Whitewater Sakers. This is the November 2024 newsletter. I believe they print these out every quarter. So, and they are located on Oxford Road. So, that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Chuck. With that Friends of Whitewater, they're wanting people looking for 25 members, so they're always wanting support financially and bodies too, so it's a good organization. All right, guest, Lieutenant DePaoli.
All right, good evening, everybody. Lieutenant Jeremy DePaoli with the Hamilton County Sheriffs. Excuse me. I have the report for Crosby Township for the month of December 2024. Once again, pretty light on the criminal activity up here, the way we like it. There was a theft reported on Fernald Drive on the 1st of December. Victim had her iPhone and Apple Watch go missing from her residence sometime in the week prior to that. The suspects in that are family members. Patrolman Jim Rule reporting on that. One other incident, again, kind of a more domestic family incident, family and friends. There was an arrest for assault and drug possession out in the 11,500 block of Patty's Run on the 8th of December. The sheriff responded for a disturbance at 03:57 hours and determined that a Travis Singleton had attempted to assault the resident there. They were acquaintances, by the way, and he also damaged property in the kitchen after she told him to leave. He was located resting in a nearby field and had some suspected fentanyl and methamphetamine on his person, as well as a needle. So he was transported to the Just Center on a parole violation. They had multiple new charges from the incident. It was the work, it was Patrolman Alex Grasso reporting and responding on that. 3 other non-criminal reports during the month of December, which medical, other psychiatric issues that we responded to, and attempted suicide. Criminal investigations for the month of December. 1 case was assigned for investigation to our detectives. That would be that theft report. And that case has not been closed as of the writing today. Traffic incidents, 4 auto crashes reported in Crosby Township, 1 OVI arrest. Dispatch report, 88 calls for service in Crosby Township during the month of December, and also 71 non-billable details, which would include traffic stops, other times officers, deputies put themselves out for investigation. Other items I have here, the DVERT organization, the domestic, that's a acronym for Domestic Violence Enhanced Response Team. That's a program run in conjunction with Women Helping Women. Provides immediate resources and social services for victims of domestic violence or abuse. It is available to anybody out here that needs that. We had no incidents requiring a response from the social workers during December. Anytime that we have a domestic violence situation, an arrest, we will summons them to come out, but they will also come out for other needs when somebody requests them. So it is available if anybody would ever like to use that resource. More information can be found at www.womenhelpingwomen.org. I'd like to comment to you gentlemen. I give you this dispatch report once a month. Excuse me again. There are, I just want to distinguish between a few things that may pop up in here that may be noteworthy or eye-catching. For example, there is one dispatch we had for a stabbing, and you'll see that that's not listed under the noteworthy criminal incidents. That was the attempted suicide. Person slashed themselves. So what you see in the dispatch often is not what it actually might appear to be. At the end of the day, it may say that we're responding for domestic trouble, something of that nature. If we get there and determine it's not a criminal violation, it's not reported in my criminal reports and noteworthy incidents. So to address the barking dog question very quickly, that is a quality of life issue that we will respond for if somebody calls a dispatcher. One thing I would like to point out in the past to folks, it is generally a low priority, barking dogs. I encourage people in the name of neighborliness, if this is something you can resolve with your neighbor, I recommend going that route first. I understand there are situations where you might not want to walk up on your neighbor's porch at 2 o'clock in the morning, anything of that nature, and there would be many reasons why you might not want to. But sometimes it creates bad blood between neighbors when we are called for low priority issues like that. Some people would prefer that their neighbor address that directly with them. So I'm not telling folks how to handle it, I'm just offering another suggestion when something of that nature comes up. But there would be reasons, I understand, why folks would not want to go over on their neighbor's porch 2 o'clock in the morning often enough. If the dog's been locked outside for several hours, it may be a sign of something else going on over there. Some other kind of trouble where that homeowner might be unavailable to let the dog back in. So any way you cut it, at the end of the day, if you call, we'll be coming. So does that answer that question?
Yeah, you probably recommend them call the non-emergency number, not
Correct.
911,
Correct. It is
unless the dog's hanging on
it's
their
not a
arm or
911 issue unless you're being chewed up. There you go. So anyway, that is all I have for this evening. Any questions, complaints? I'll take compliments too if anybody has any of those from the sheriff's office. We'll take those.
Yeah, surprised everything's that quiet. I'm glad to
There's
hear.
been nothing heard about with the patrol thing.
No.
Do not jinx us when you use the Q word. That is one we've stricken from our vocabulary. The Q word is good. That's the way we like it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good night.
You too.
You, sir.
Be careful. Does anybody want to get up and talk?
Brian Carter, 9649 Forest Hill Drive. I guess my question is, since, Doug, this is the start of your new term, should you be sworn in again?
Was not up for election.
Okay,
That's only when I get elected that you have to be sworn in. That's for a
Right,
4-year term.
my term's up this year, so.
They're
I'll be-
both up they're,
I thought you got elected in November.
no, that was 2 years, that was of 23.
Okay,
We're always in an off year.
okay, that's fine.
Trustees and fiscal are in the off year.
Okay, my next question is, in calendar year 2022 and 2023, we hit an agreement with the sheriff's office for 3-hour patrols 5 days a week. And when we signed that agreement in 2024 that we thought we were going to get a full-time sheriff, we discontinued that agreement. Since that agreement is, I guess, not going to move forward, we're not going to get our 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year sheriff. I just want to know if the trustees would entertain that idea of contacting a sheriff and seeing if that would be a thing that you'd want to do again.
Like
To
go back to
reinstate
hiring-
that
Well,
patrol
let
that
me,
we used to have.
let me just say this. At the last meeting, there was a discussion about the proposed contract for the 3 western townships to get involved with the sheriff's office. And I spoke to Lisa Webb, Assistant County Administrator. Harrison Township was a no, and she said, at the time I spoke to her, which was January 8th, she said that Whitewater didn't say yes or no at that point. So she says, if Whitewater says yes and Crosby says yes, they would enter into the contract with 2 of the 3. If only Crosby wants to do it, but the other 2 don't, she said they would talk about it. That's all she would say. So I don't know what Whitewater's,
Yeah.
position is right now, but she said as of our discussion, they were neither a yes nor no. But if they go on the yes column, they'll sign a contract with Crosby and Whitewater.
That was on the 8th.
That was on January 8th.
Yeah, guess we give them another month and see what happens.
Anybody else?
Only thing I would add to that is the older traffic detail that we had was really more specifically directed and tailored towards traffic and not any kind of criminal law enforcement. So there wasn't really any kind of it wasn't a true patrol or there's certainly any nighttime or after hours deterrent.
Yeah, I thought they were kind of trying to replace it with this joint thing they were trying to do with the three.
Well, we replaced it. We decided that we really didn't need to do it anymore if
It's a
there
better
was going to be
deal.
a 24-hour
Right.
patrol, which but yeah, that's all I have to add.
All right, reports, legal, Alan?
Did, you had the special meeting on the 6th, correct?
Yeah, we fired you, I think.
Did you really?
No.
I'm leaving now. I've got the resolution. I don't know if you passed it.
No, we're gonna do it
We're
tonight.
gonna do it
Okay.
tonight.
Well, I just brought another copy.
Yeah, I have a couple here, too.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of it?
I did.
All right. That's all I have.
Alan,
You wanna handle you want us to vote on the resolution right now since he brought it up?
There's a
Or
copy.
do you wanna do it?
It's fine with me. I mean, I wasn't really a part of it, so if you guys want to do it, and actually, yeah, this is listed as Resolution 8, so that works.
Here, I'll take and read it so the audience knows where we're at. Resolution number 8-2025, a resolution adopting recommendations of the Zoning Commission. The preamble, whereas the Zoning Commission of Crosby Township has recommended certain amendments to the Township zoning resolution attached to this resolution, and whereas Ohio Revised Code Section 519.12 provides for a public hearing for the proposed amendments which occurred on January 6, 2025, resolution. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Crosby Township, Hamilton County, Ohio, the Board, that the following resolution be and it hereby is adopted. Section 1, the Board hereby approves the amendments in their entirety. Section 2, the Board directs that the amendments be incorporated into the Township zoning resolution. Section 3, the amendment shall be effective 30 days after the date of this resolution, the effective date. Section 4, within 5 working days after the effective date, the amendment shall be filed with the Hamilton County Recorder and the Hamilton County Regional Planning Commission. Section 5, the Township Zoning Inspector is hereby authorized to take all actions necessary to carry out this resolution. Adopted, this would be the 13th day of January 2025, and then we all sign it as trustees and the fiscal officer. So I move that we accept resolution number 8-2025.
I second it.
Roll call.
Mr. Hyam,
Yes.
Mr. Heiss,
Yes.
Mr. Lohman.
Yes.
You get out of all the confusion.
Yeah,
Now that it's been
I know.
passed, I need 2 copies of the revised zoning resolution with all the amendments incorporated. So one gets filed with the planning and the other gets filed with the Hamilton County Law Library. Along with a copy of this, 2 copies of the signed resolution.
Related to that, I mean, obviously, Mr. Trends is on top of it. I received a correspondence on behalf of the township from Hamilton County Auditor, or I'm sorry, Hamilton County Recorder Scott Crawley, basically just putting the township on notice of our duties to file zoning resolutions and amendments in the office of the county recorder. It goes on to state, what the fees and for such things are, and it's carbon copied to each township in Hamilton County. I will, if it please the president, I'm going to hand this to Mr. Trends, since he's going to take care of recording that.
Yeah, another one.
right, that was all, Alan?
That's all I got.
I got a question. Could Lisa from county, could they give a certain deadline for Whitewater to make a decision about the sheriff office?
On the sheriff's agreement?
I mean,
Yeah,
probably over a year ago.
but
I mean,
it's starting the
it
year.
was
21.
like the fall of 22, I think we were talking about this, so maybe earlier than that.
I think
Wow.
it might be worth a call to the Whitewater Township trustee and ask them where they're gonna stand on it.
I could email,
Yeah.
I will. I'll make a note.
Can, would you guys mind signing one more of these things, for my, I'll just put that with the minutes, and then Mr. Trends can have these two originals.
I think we have, do we not have a copy of the amendments themselves separate from the entire resolution? So I'd like to get copies of the new zoning resolution with all the amendments. Yeah, you're gonna have that, you're gonna file it. Yeah, and then just a copy of the amendments themselves before they were incorporated, because I think the zoning commission gave you both. They gave you a revised zoning resolution with all the amendments in it, and then
Right.
they had a separate document that just showed the amendments.
Right. I don't have that with me. That's one thing I didn't bring tonight.
Okay.
Rick should have that, I would hope, guess.
Right, Rick would have it, and I think the zoning commission's back there right now, aren't they?
I think some, but they may not still be.
Oh, okay.
Does one of you guys have, before we move on, does one of you guys have the original, minutes from the December meeting
Doctor, somewhere.
signed?
I think I gave it. It might
Before we
be
lose
it.
track of it? That might be it, maybe.
Oh,
Did you do the other, there's the other one too?
I have the other one. I have the other one.
yeah, I didn't see
See,
it.
that's the one I was looking for. I knew it was more than one page.
All right, anything else for Alan? All right, maintenance, Jim?
Oh, hang on just a second. I just realized I need to make a note that I passed that letter. Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Jim, you haven't done anything this month, so I guess we'll just skip you.
You can if you want. Well, we started off this month, working on last month, I guess you should say, working on the John Deere tractor on the loader bucket and that. And we mounted some spare tires. We never had any spare tires for a truck, so we got rims and got used tires and from a guy give them to us and we put them on. We just need them for spare. Worked on equipment and we installed the plows, which was a good thing, and make sure everything worked, and then we thought everything was working, but then we worked on emergency lights. We need to replace these lights. The one in the zoning offices, we got it taped together. They're from original, so the new ones are like the ones we got in our maintenance building. It's not that big and bulky. These are, imagine original, and they're all brittle when you try to open them up, and they just crack.
Do you have a price on what these replacements would be?
No, but I think now there's two of them in the maintenance building that Bruce Rosenberg thought they put them up and took them down, but I don't know why, and he don't know why. But there's two of them over there in the building already. That's just sitting in them.
So you can use them replacing these?
Yes, I mean, Harry.
Well, if it's gonna run over to your amount, that you need to have approval, you know.
I
we
don't
need-
think it'll run over a mount.
Okay,
Yeah, and then there's a light on the backside too, and they're all burnt out. We replaced this one to see that was a problem, so before we bought them all, so we need to replace them on the back, on the outside. But they probably never could come on because therefore when the electric goes off, we have a generator, so unless you push the test button, So, we just let's get your approval maybe and find out what it costs to replace these 3 up here. So we did that, we figured that thing out, and then, of course, we pushed snow for a while. And it's tough. I mean, I've talked to some people over in Fort Scott, and I'm thinking about trying to get with them sometime and meet over to their clubhouse or somewhere here to see what they want us to do. I mean, the cars are parked everywhere, and then they pull out, then you got a big pile of snow sitting in the middle of the road. You know, you can't, and a lot of driveways don't have a car in them, but they're all on the drive, you know, in the road. And then if you go down and they shovel the driveways off, and then you go flying by and plow again, and they're screaming at you because you just plowed the driveway shut again. The driveways over there are so close together, most of the places, that there's nowhere to put snow. And when you get in a cul-de-sac and there's 5 to 7 houses in a cul-de-sac, that's so small you can't even turn a truck around in it without backing up. It's like, what do you do? Normal snow I don't think is bad, but when you get one of these big ones.
That's trouble. When you get a 10 inch or to a foot, you got a lot of snow to
You
push.
got 2 foot between the driveways, is
No place to put it.
no place to put it in them cul-de-sacs.
Mhm.
And then when you go, if you go in there, then they got 2 cars parked on, you know, at the end of the cul-de-sac. It's like, there's nowhere to even put it there, you know what I mean? So it's kind of hard to do, but when the big snow, and I think if I remember right, it's the biggest snow we had since in 21 years. So
Yeah.
we ain't never had to deal with Fort Scott 21 years ago.
Yeah, we got almost 17 inches of snow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, last year we had like less than an inch.
Yeah.
So it's very unusual.
So it's just need to get together with them. And back at, you know, even back at on Hacienda and that, they just dead end basically. So you got driveways coming off at them end of them roads going just like this, and there's not even a cul-de-sac there.
Mhm.
And then it's like, you can make a lane coming out and you feel bad, but that's all you can do is give them a lane out, and they're gonna take turns coming down or whatever, you know. I mean, there's nowhere to put snow. On a big one, you know, normal snow, it's no big deal, but on them, there's nothing there. I mean, so.
You think there's any problem with it now melting and then refreezing because of all the snow piled
Went
up?
out each morning and drove around.
Checked it.
And if we can see spots that we can push where cars are going, we've been pushing it up and stuff like that, but, I mean, somebody showed me the city of Harrison put out on their webpage or something where they tell the people that to park their cars in the driveway and.
Like a
Get 'em
snow
off the-
emergency or something?
Yeah, snow emergency thing, they put it like on a webpage, and I don't know, we could get on there and look at that, and then maybe send it to the president of the HOA at Fort Scott and have them send it to, you know, the people over there. My thing, if you park your 4 cars in the driveway instead of 4 cars on the road, when you move your cars into your driveway, you ain't got no snow in your driveway no more. You can haul it out with your car. You know what I mean? And instead of having that big pile of snow against your driver's door that you gotta get rid of when it's parked on the street, when we plow up through there on big snow like that, you gotta plow it against the door. So, I've just gotta be, and we might not never get a snow like this forever, you know? But it's
You
a
might be
problem.
retired by the time we get the next
Might be.
snow.
Time we get it figured out, we might be all gone.
Yep.
So, it's just something to think about. On normal snow, you don't have that problem. It's the big ones.
Do they have like HOA meetings periodically or?
I don't know. I seen a lady walking the street over there, or coming down the road, and I stopped her, and she sent the thing out through the HOA to people. And one person said, yeah, come by and plow my driveway shut. Again, you know, come up and make it wider. And then another one said, no, I don't want my driveway plowed shut. And another one says this, another one says, why don't people park in the driveway? And then a lady who said she didn't care if her driveway got pushed shut, come back on there about an hour later, who went out there and tried moving snow over there out by her car. And she says, no, don't plow my driveway shut now. I can't move it. It gets heavy when once it starts melting and freezing, it's heavy. So I guess you just go and hope nobody calls and complains. And
Do people
so-
call here much, Brenda? No?
Now,
They can call the maintenance department?
no, actually, the lady that he was talking about, there was I think she left a couple of messages. She did actually work at going to neighbors, and she named, places and people and, what they wanted or didn't want. And then there were so many, I couldn't write them fast enough. So I said, Jim, you need to come and listen to this too. And so that we can make sure he heard exactly what the message was. But they were working on it, the folks over there,
Yeah.
to try and resolve it. I think there was just a lot of conflicting ideas.
yeah, you'd have to know whose driveway didn't care. So we had one problem on one of the cul-de-sacs down there, and we went down and fixed it the next day. And had one of our drivers misunderstood how to do it. This big snow, and they never done it like that. So I went down and fixed it the next day. So it's back in a cul-de-sac with 7 houses or whatever it was, and nowhere to put snow. So, and then the main thing the first day on something like that is the main thing is open streets out, so people can get at least one lane and then work from there. So that's what we did to first push and get it opened up. People can go up and down, take their time, and widen it as you can. So, but it all worked out.
Did you go through a lot of salt?
I don't know. I don't think so. Not really. And another thing that worked out, I stopped down there and talked to them at the county, and they said, so I was always worried about getting too much salt and know what am I going to do with it. If my trucks are loaded, and they told me not to worry about that I can bring it back down and dump it down there, and they'll just give us, won't charge us for it. They won't charge us for the salt that we took. They'll take it back off the receipt. That makes it a lot easier trying to think, should I go down there? Should I not go down there? I'll be stuck with the salt. And they said, no, you can just told me to just bring it down there and dump it back in the salt bin, and they'll give us credit for it.
That's good.
So that made it a lot easier to do that, knowing I can get rid of the salt if we have it left over. So I can say, yeah, go down and get another load. If you only use a half a load, I know we can get rid of it. So that's a big plus.
Yeah.
So that's it.
All right, anything else for Jim? All right, Fire Chief Davis.
December run totals, 22 EMS details, 26 fire details, for a total of 48 in December. I've attached to this report the run totals for 2024. Fire EMS crews made a total of 807 total details in 2024. 824 were EMS details and 379 were fire details. Received a letter from Mr. Wallace from Otarma. The online grant request went through, and we were awarded the funds for equipment purchases. I will be filling those orders this month. I want to thank the committee for choosing Crosby Township Fire Department to receive the grant for those purchases.
You know how much it was?
It was just shy of $2 grand, I believe. And that's all I have.
On your mutual aid, does that pretty much stay the same all the time? Does it seem to go up or down much? I know that was talked about at West Jad some, because it seems like,
From 2023, mutual aid, stayed right about the same. Right about the same. The run totals dropped a little bit from 2023 to 2024. The main thing was we have I don't want to call them frequent flyers, but there was a couple residents who were no longer in the township anymore for 2024. So that affected that.
I guess West Chad, I think maybe Miami Township or some of them, they've got they're less staffed or something because of funding, and then they've even go to Indiana once in a while, I guess, for mutual aid.
Yeah.
So that's kind of something they have to watch, is an increase in that, or if they're going to try to start charging them or something. But and that's why I asked if ours was changing much, but it's good that it's not
Gotcha.
not being taken advantage of or whatever.
Correct.
Next question.
Anything else?
I don't know if it pertains to you guys or Jason, the maintenance guys, because they keep saying Jason had old radios that they was gonna give to the maintenance,
To Mike?
that would come pretty handy during like snow removal when the guys over the, you know what I mean? So I didn't know nothing about it. They just told me, said something to me, and I said, oh.
I can give them to you Thursday.
I mean, it's up to you guys.
They've been reprogrammed for Mike, and then when Mike left, Harry didn't want anything like that.
They
Yeah,
asked for 'em, I
you can
said,
use it. I mean, why
That's
throw
what
them
Mike
away?
wanted them for, was for trucks,
yeah.
from truck to truck. That's all they're good for, is line of sight. There's no repeater to them. It's just like a walkie-talkie.
Will they carry from like Aristocrat to New Baltimore, or?
You can test them. I'm not gonna guarantee it, but you can test them.
All right.
Try it from McDonald's to Wendy's.
I would say with elevation, maybe.
I just wondered, they brought it up,
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about it.
Yeah, you can try it. I mean, you're not using them, so you try them. If they work, they work. And then you got
Okay with you Thursday?
something you can use.
Anything else for Chief Davis?
Since we're on the firehouse, I'll just do the
Okay.
firehouse update. There has been a new set of plans submitted down to the county. Unfortunately, it was right before Christmas. So going through the holidays, they haven't received anything back yet. But once those plans are approved, which they should be because they addressed everything that was brought up to them as far as being in the flood zone and all that, then they'll be ready to start with demolition and the stuff that they can demolish before the weather gets good enough so that they can attack the building, but like the old salt shed and stuff like that. So, but we haven't heard anything yet from the county. So that's where that's at.
All right, thanks. Community Coordinator, Brenda.
Okay. Well, the 2024 inventory for the areas that I am responsible for have been completed and turned into the fiscal office. I worked with Dennis on the policy and procedures manual. And I would like to officially thank the community members who worked to make the 18th annual Kringle Chest Christmas benefit for Crosby children a success. We were able to bless 22 families and their 54 children with a wonderful Christmas morning. We appreciate the ways that Crosby Elementary, under the leadership of Nicole Lee, provided us with the children who can benefit most from our efforts. We thank the following 28 donors who, for basically providing the means for Santa to work. They would be thank yous to Alvis Materials, that's Soil Products, LLC, American Reclaiming, Butler Rural Electric Cooperative, Brenco Incorporated, CatExcel Nice Company, Crosby Senior Club, Cutting Edge Woodworks, Ken and Lisa Crawford, Denier Electric Company, Energy Alliance, Kevin Fleeman, the Fort Scott Neighborhood Turkey Trot proceeds, which consisted this year of 34 adult runners, 29 children and teens, and 3 additional adults working the race trot. Hyatt Farms, Chuck and Nancy Heiss, Hamilton County, Ohio Horsemen's Council, Nolman Farms, Modern Day Concrete, Nutrien, Bobby Padour, Rick Losekamp Plumbing, River Metals Recycling, Scherzinger Drilling Incorporated, Larry Smith Contractors, Mr. and Mrs. Bill Weisbrod, and they contacted and brought in some donations from Harrison VFW, the Do Well Association, and AmVets Post 1988 from Cheviot, and then Welch Sand and Gravel. We also want to thank the 15 shoppers who shop for multiple families and bless the 54 children with Christmas presents. And we were able to provide a ham for each family and a $50 gift card to Kroger's for them to purchase the rest of their Christmas dinner. Those 15 Santa shoppers are Sheena Ashcraft, Emily Bamonte, Brittany Enneking, Stephanie Hale, Carrie Hirsch, and some Crosby teachers who assisted, Mark Jackson, Christine Kirby, Nicole Klein, Nicole Lee, Donna Moss, Kristen Miller, Renee Ringel, Nicole Schlabach, Jennifer Strong, and Alexis Valentino. And then we would like to thank the 33 Christmas gift wrappers who took care of wrapping all of those presents for 54 kids in one evening. It was definitely a Christmas wrapping party. Unfortunately, I don't have their names, but we do thank them. And all in all, not counting our staff, there were 142 volunteer companies and people who participated in various ways to make this happen, not to mention the shoppers' families and school staff that helped out. Overall, the goodness of Crosby Township was overflowing. Thank you. Respectfully submitted, Brenda Jackson and Vivian Turner.
Brenda, you forgot to thank the people who overseed everything, not based you two
Thank you.
ladies and whoever else help you. So,
Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
guys do a lot of work on that one, I'll
Yeah.
give you that.
Without you two, it wouldn't happen.
Well, I appreciate it. You know, and really, when you think about it, we, you know, in our township, to have 142 people who were actively they were running the race. They I think collected about $1,200 from those race people at Fort Scott, or the staff here that, you know, at Crosby School that helped out extra. There were a lot of extras, and then the fun part is that a lot of the families, the 15 shoppers for 22 families means that some shoppers did 2 families or more. But their own personal families did a lot of the shopping, and they talked about how their children enjoyed doing what they did. So there's a lot of numbers that we didn't even count. You know, that everybody got involved, and it was just a blessing. And now Vivian's going to tell you a little bit more about what's happening beyond our thank yous.
Okay. Our senior membership meeting was canceled last week due to snow, so we're having it tomorrow, and we're having just a brown bag lunch and desserts. We're also having a kitchen shower through a lot of use. A lot of stuff's getting wore out, so we're having a shower, so everybody's going to bring some pot holders or towels or something like that for us. We continue to have our Wii bowling on Tuesday, our volleyball on Thursday, and yoga every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. We also have Crosby Cafe coming up Wednesday at 7, live music. It's a lot of fun. Everybody has a lot of fun. Come out for that. On the 21st, Michelle Vollmer from Creative Agent of Cincinnati is coming, and she's going to share tips to incorporate simple changes in our daily life that would help us be healthier. Also show us some stretching and flexibility to help us with just our activities of daily living. And we're going to have soup on that day, just as a little treat. And on the 23rd, Fourth Thursday, we're gonna go to Barrelhead's Grill, for dinner with friends at 5 p.m. Thank you.
Anything else? Questions? Thank you. Fiscal Officer Matt?
He's gone.
Oh. I guess we'll skip that tonight.
Yep, there he is.
You're up, Matt.
All right.
Guess I have to look first.
So there's the written report, fiscal officer's report that was distributed in your mailboxes. I have my copy here if you wouldn't mind signing that. You may notice it's a little bit thinner than normal. We're still working on the bank reconciliation. There's a figure in there that I'm still working on figuring out where it matches up. It's hiding, but I will find it and have it for you by the next meeting. Our new assistant fiscal officer, Jamie Mather, she's doing great. She's picking up things fast. She's been working hard. I'm pleased with her progress. There is a new audit in progress for years 2022 to 2023. I received, this is what I went back to grab real quick. I just want to let the trustees know there is a public records request that was made kind of randomly by a guy on behalf of a company called Smart Procure. His email, it was done by email. He describes himself in his signature line as a data acquisition specialist. That seemed a little odd to me, so I looked up basically the company, and essentially what it seems like is that this is a company that basically mines large amounts of data and information from local governments through public records requests, and then simply makes that data available. I don't really see anything necessarily wrong or illegal about it. Some may consider it pretty clever, but what it is I think it's overly burdensome, overly broad, and as of now, my intention is to not provide the records requested because I don't think we're required to under law. They requested about 5 years worth of all types of financial records that we generate, keep, and maintain. So their website basically advertises and broadcasts how many different financial records they have from different places in every state in the country. So, I mean, given the size of our staff, what we do, I don't think it's a reasonable request. I contacted as soon as I got the request and read through it. I was about to start working on it. I realized what it was. I contacted Mr. Trends. He's currently working on helping me just make an appropriate legal response to the request, because it has to be responded to and it has to have legal grounds for whatever response it is that we give them. So we don't get a lot of public records requests, but we're prepared to deal with them, and we do that, whenever they're made, and we'll respond to this one as well. Just this one a little more in the negative.
Are they even local?
No. I can't remember what state it's in. I want to say Texas, but I could be wrong on that. And it's out there. So. And also the new pay rates that were approved by the trustees, those have been loaded into UAN and they're ready to go for the next pay period. That would be the first full pay period of the year. And also, we have put in, I believe that we have it set up where the firefighters' paid time off will be also tracked in UAN. So, Chief, I guess what the way we'll have to do this is you'll have to, when you give us payroll and such, you'll have to also somehow, you'll have to let us know, since we're the ones inputting data for payroll, and then that'll get tracked in the payroll.
On what type of time they was used and for who?
Yes. I also suspect, because we go through this every year, when we go through this first payroll of the year, that there will likely be a matter of a cent rounding that we may have to go through between your figures and mine, because typically we have to go through that every
I think
January.
Jamie and I have already checked that.
Okay.
I gave her, she did it, I gave her my totals and told her to check them, and I believe they've been taken care of.
Okay.
Everything matched.
That's all I have.
Anything else for Matt? Thanks, Matt. Zoning, Rick?
We issued 6 permits last month, 1 for a residential addition, 4 new residences, and 1 commercial addition. And that's all I have.
Do you want to ask him about the documents you need?
Yeah, I'll need probably 3 copies of the zoning resolution with all the amendments incorporated
Okay.
into it. And then I know the zoning commission had a separate document that just had the amendments before they were incorporated. I need one of those.
Okay, I've got that.
Okay.
Because Diane's in the process, just tonight, we're making copies, and we're gonna start running them through the
Put them in my
copy
mailbox.
machine. Okay, I'll let her
Well,
know.
if it fit.
But I'll let her know that tonight.
Okay, thank you.
There was one thing I forgot to mention in my report. Can we go back if Rick's done?
Yeah, when Rick's done. Anything else for Rick? All right, back to Matt.
I've been saying, I could tell, I've been looking at the numbers ever since I started here. I don't know, going on 5 years. We always have known that there's going to be a time where the general fund was going to have to start supplementing fire just for regular operation. It's the one fund that runs at a deficit from year to year to year, just based upon the amount of tax revenues we get from the county. This is the year where that's going to happen, and so it's going to be. I mean, my rough estimate, it's going to be likely somewhere between 300,000 and 400,000. That's not a disaster for this year's purposes. Probably not a disaster for the next couple years' purposes. I just want the trustees to also remember that if the contract for the police patrol goes through, ultimately, once that graduated timeline gets up to where we're paying full freight, you're going to be looking probably at as much as like $500,000. So, given that, that's going to put we're going to have a lot of strain on the general fund in addition to fire. So I think I would just want the trustees to have in the back of their minds that hopefully we're past a lot of the more capital type expenses, once, because we've already got the monies and stuff set aside for the addition and stuff like that. And hopefully we can, level some things out a little bit. I think we've got the new fire truck. I think we'll be fine. I just want you to have that in the back of your mind.
Did insurance go up again this year a lot, or like the health insurance?
Slightly. It wasn't too bad this year. It goes up every year, but wasn't too bad.
That's it.
Okay.
Oh, on the one last thing related to that. So because there's going to need to be a transfer from the general fund ultimately to fire, the trustees passed the resolution appropriating funds for fire, but I had to basically hold back putting into UAN 400,000 of what would typically go into salaries until at a future month, either February or March, I'll provide you with a resolution that authorizes the transfer of funds from general to fire. Once that transfer takes place, I'll be able to basically finish off what has already been approved for permanent appropriation to cover the fire salaries later in the year. But we're fine on. I mean, that's about 45%, of the year's allotment for that. So it's nothing urgent, nothing that prevents anyone from getting paid or anything like that. That's all I have. I promise.
So we'll go to old business. I don't have any. Dennis?
I have none, other than our book that we've been working on for policies, which I'm going to wait until we get through everything. If that's all right by you.
Chuck?
The same as Dennis. I don't have anything, but I do have some idea what we should, a couple more things we should include in the policy and procedures manual. Basically, some rules and regulations. So,
New business, I have none. Dennis?
I have none.
Chuck?
none.
Other concerns? Dennis?
All right, we'll go into what I've been working on with the help of Brenda. She's been a big help keeping me supplied with paper and redoing different things. First, I would like to take, and if anybody's got anything that they want to add it in, we'll just open it up right now to for anybody. We'll do the trust, on the book. We'll do the trustees first. Chuck, you have anything that you saw that needed to be changed or supplemented?
Yeah. On section 1 on page 9 and 10. Under 3-1, they got paid bi-weekly by direct deposit. But then down below, you getting that the pay period will start on the 1st of every month and run for the 15th. Then the next period from the 16th to the end of the month. That was the old pay. We used to get paid twice a month. So you basically could take that last sentence out under 3.1.
He's correct.
Right.
So now it's just every 2 weeks.
That was how it was before I went to full-time firefighter. Before that, I believe everything was get paid twice a month. And of course, the trustees and fiscal officers only get paid monthly, so I'm not sure if you want to add something to that or not about the trustees and the fiscal
All
officer.
right, back up again and tell me where you're at, because I'm having a
On
hard time.
page 9.
On page 9.
Right.
On the bottom,
3.1, the first paragraph, the
last
last sentence should be simply struck out.
Yeah.
The pay period starts the 1st of every month.
Correct.
Okay. That's easy to do.
And I don't know if you want to add something for the trustees and the fiscal office because we only get paid monthly.
Well, there's,
Where are you referring to, Chuck?
Well, I don't know if you want to add that.
he said.
Well, no, because that's specifically referring to firefighters.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, same thing on the next page under 3-2.
3-2, the last, that's one paragraph.
The
The
payroll.
last sentence should say, the payroll will be issued bi-weekly.
Yeah, instead of 2 times a month.
Okay,
Instead of 2 times per month, simply substitute that with bi-weekly.
okay,
Page 15. And this probably got more. It's top of the page, says Article V11. I guess it's VII. That should be VIII.
yeah, it's
And
typo.
and the next one is V11, VIIIX. That should be IX, which is 9.
I think that was,
More like a confusion.
it was a correction
halfway.
in the other one that we didn't get taken out, so,
Yeah.
okay.
And the next page on page 16, IX should be IX.
All right. Okay,
On page 27,
So you want to change the IX?
to X.
Just
It's,
get
it's,
X.
it's
X
Article 10,
Yeah,
and it's supposed to be
X.
Roman numeral X. All right, where are we at now?
On page 27, I don't know if we need to change this or not. It says each permanent full-time and permanent part-time employee. What is the definition of a permanent employee? Is that somebody after the 6 months?
This was in the old stuff that was from 2011, and we just pretty much adopted it in because it addressed a lot of stuff that we didn't need. So I'm open to, I have no idea on what a permanent part-time employee is.
Permanent full-time. So a permanent
I
can
mean,
be,
our employees over at the maintenance, are they permanent part-time?
Yes.
would it be after 6 months after the,
If you're a permanent employee, it means you're not a seasonal employee.
All
I
right.
think any reasonable person would interpret that in
They're
that
not
way.
seasonal, so they'd be permanent part-time.
Yeah, unless it's there's actually 1 or 2 guys over there that are seasonal employees. Is it just one?
Scott.
Okay.
Right.
He does snow plowing. Don't you have a guy also that comes in and makes signs a couple times a year?
Melvin, isn't it? Melvin,
Because I got to because we always have to adjust our reports that go into OPERS and stuff. I thought that's was a sign guy.
I don't know.
is that
But-
Mel?
He don't work for the township, I don't,
Yes, see on payroll.
oh, Ed Stacy, he's no, yeah, he's no longer,
Okay,
Brenda does it now,
gotcha.
Jim doesn't.
the gym.
So, anyways, that's I mean,
So that stays
it
the
happens.
same. Okay.
And the other thing we might want to add another section. Crosby Township rules and regulations for use of township building property and grounds. And what I'm getting at is, like that one person want coming to hunting, we could probably put the rules in here because we're covering the community center and the shelter, but we're not really covering everything else outside. So I think we need something to cover outside rules. Like, I think we should include no hunting and no fishing on our property.
Yeah?
Right now, these saying no firearm, like guns or whatever, but if somebody want to hunt with a bow and arrow or whatever. But I think we need another section to cover the outside area. And we can include no hunting and no fishing is my idea, is to cover. I don't think we should allow hunting and fishing.
Why don't you give me a list of the things that, the parameters, so that I have something that I can work with to generate.
I found a couple of things already.
I would
so-
I would suggest, one way you may want to frame that, because we don't really have anything like that on here, is a set of policies related to park regulations, because that's essentially what you're talking about. And you could call it parks and properties or whatever, because we do have parks. I mean, and so that would include any policies that you want to be able to enforce via police. When
right.
people do stupid stuff. If you recall, a few months ago, Lida came and she was talking about shenanigans at the park
Right.
next to Sam's Corner Store. It would cover stuff like that. It would cover the park down on River Road. It would cover also the grounds here at the community center. You could put things in there like, open and closing time,
Right.
Stuff like that.
Basically, we got it. I get make copy for dinner. Does it tell you open and
Okay.
closing?
Yeah, just get it and give it to Dennis.
Give me a
Excuse me. I think I can be helpful, Chuck, because we already have all of that written. It's where you find it is it's in the application if you want to reserve, something. So maybe the easiest thing for you to do, or for us to do, is to look at what's already in place. And again, you can highlight, that which you feel is important. If you feel like all of it needs to be there, we've already gotten that, or we can add to it.
Yeah.
But we do have a working
Right.
document that would be easy to work with.
Yeah, I could believe it to be in here.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
fine.
That
Yeah,
sounds
we
I
can get
agree.
together on that when you get
I know we
time.
probably have it because I got a copy of it.
Gotcha.
Just
Just,
on this red folder you gave everybody. I believe you gave everybody a red folder.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't
if you look in
understand
the
that
red
part.
folder, you will find
Okay.
this.
Just stop in and talk to me about, and I'll show you what we have, and
Okay.
then you can go from there. How about that?
No problem.
Okay. Anything else, Chuck?
Nope.
The only thing I had was in the red section on the rental policy was the amounts were not what we had agreed on. There's no page
What section
number.
is it in?
Kind of about in the middle of the red section.
Oh, okay.
What's the rental, the shelter rental or the
Crosby
community?
Center, Community Center.
Okay.
It should be $200 for residents and $300 for non-residents, and then $100 deposit.
So the rent, or it's $300 for non-residents.
200 for residents, and 100 for deposit.
I think I saw that in another location or something. That was, I can't remember.
Would you
find it?
repeat that, please, Doug, when
I
you
know.
get a chance?
This is what it looked
Yeah,
like.
it's repeat what it is. It's 300 for non-residents, 200 for residents, and $100 deposit. It's basically about the same as Harrison Township's. The shelter, I guess, I don't remember what that was, so I don't know if that was, we kept that, is that what it always has been for the shelter, which is the next page? Is it $100 non-residents, 50 for residents?
We've never used it yet. Is that what
Okay.
you mean? Yeah, none of this has been ever charged
Okay.
for.
Brand new policy.
So maybe the deposit on that should be $100 then too, which, that's on the next page. Just to keep the deposit the
So
same.
the deposit, you have 100, but the next line down is deposit for cleanup of $200. So let's get in line with everything that we got. You're wanting to change here.
Which, are you on the?
I'm on the community center.
After you do that, put a little table so I can find it.
That's the deposit.
For cleanup.
Well, that's just a deposit that if we have to clean it up, then they don't get it back.
Right, so what are you wanting the $100 for?
That's what from 200 to 100.
Oh, so you're changing that, okay.
Yeah, so we raised the rent and lowered the deposit.
All right, I
And then the
I
next-
wasn't catching you
That's
on that
okay.
one.
And then the next page, we should probably just make it a $100 deposit also for the shelter. Have you had people inquire about it yet, renting?
I have 2 people waiting to see what we're going to charge for the center right now, for January or maybe into February. I'm not sure what their dates are. They haven't told me yet. I think they're waiting to see what the price is going to be. Go.
Anything else?
That was all I had.
All right. Open it up over there. Anybody?
Oh, you want your stuff?
Not that I've seen yet, besides the pay.
I think you should go ahead and do yours. Just the things that you had. Okay. I can take that. Here's the-
Brenda had my,
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, she had your,
What you want me to tell him what you told me? I'll just speak for him because he gave it to me, and then we kind of worked on it. Let's see. I believe it was page 20, if my memory serves me right. Can you see, Dennis? There's things in front of you, the up above your Dennis. Isn't it page 20, the place where we changed the part?
page 20, 10.
Okay, he found it.
Did you say 1010?
Yes, where it says the use of vehicles, equipment, uniforms.
yeah, it's the first sentence. The use of township vehicles, equipment, uniforms, or supplies for personal business or private use is strictly prohibited without prior permission of the department head, and he wanted to just put a period there and delete and a majority of the board of trustees. So that makes sense to me.
Yeah, it's fine. Is that all right with you? Are you on page 20?
Yeah.
Yep.
Can't get to it.
1010.
1010. Basically, it would be it would be Jim's discretion if someone used something, uniform or something personally, so we would just get rid of the majority of the board of trustees.
okay.
So he wouldn't have to get permission if someone had their Crosby shirt on when they went to Kroger or something.
And Jim and I, when we talked about it, we just felt like the department head is going to be the person who's accountable to whatever their
Right.
people do. So therefore, the accountability stays there. You just don't have to get 3 trustees involved.
No, that's
for
fine.
the majority.
Okay, was that it?
No, there was,
You wanted to have the dump
the dumpster,
here.
The dumpster policy?
the dumpster policy ain't in the, back in the back
Right, okay.
listed. If you don't,
So-
you got the dumpster policy in the front, but when you sign, the employees sign,
Right,
it's not listed on that.
so, okay, so.
Repeat it.
So that's gonna be, she's already got that printed up. We're gonna put that policy in the back where the employees sign off on to.
That was good. And then your last one?
The last one is smoking.
Yeah, we don't have a smoking, I mean, we all know it, you're not supposed to smoke, but we don't have a smoking policy.
We have no signs, no anything.
And so we need to put up signs just to reinforce over there that there's no smoking. We
Well,
probably
yeah.
ought to have a sign here
Here and
that's no
firehouse.
smoking.
You got smoking signs?
I know enter vehicles, but I don't know about inside the station or not.
Like coming in the doors, probably should have one on the door, like no,
We don't have one on the doors.
you know,
Yeah,
no smoking.
so we'll have to get some signs to post, but we need a no smoking and or use of any tobacco products. We want to go that far.
I don't think, even though I do use tobacco don't bother you. If I'm,
Well, if I get in the truck and I got tobacco juice all over the seat, you know, then that's offensive.
well, no, but
So, you know, that,
Let's say just smoking.
you know, you're going to eliminate cigars and cigarettes, and do we go the step
reason-
further?
But the reason the smoking is because it affects everybody else in the room.
Right. But
Or
tobacco
is-
juice on the floor kind of is gross too when you step into the pickup,
They're,
so.
they're not making it illegal because it's gross, it's making it illegal because it's unhealthy.
So we can do, a no smoking. Brenda ran off
We make signs, no smoking.
some stuff here that is no smoking, smoking prohibitions, posting of signs and everything. So I'm gonna pass that out to everybody.
And
Uh,
I think too, it's pretty explanatory. I mean, they really do cover everything that's in the state code or whatever that we should be doing
Yeah.
in that paper, so.
okay. Anybody have anything else?
Can
Yeah.
I say something?
Yeah.
When I first started as a carpenter, '68, policy was, if you chewed, you carried around a paint bucket with sawdust in it and spit in that. And if you spit out on the floor, you were fired. That was 1968.
Yeah.
But it was okay to
So-
drink beer.
So we can put in there, if you're gonna chew, you have to have a container to spit into and keep the vehicle and workplace clean. I mean, we ought to address it. If we're gonna allow it, then it should be up to the person that's doing it to keep the,
They're responsible to keep the clean.
yeah, that's
the
their
surroundings clean.
responsibility to keep everything clean. So, I mean, when we were down there, Sweet Corn, once when I got rid of the kids that used to bring their cigarettes and smoke during the changeover, we quit smoking, we quit chew, and we quit snuffing everything. I mean, we just did away with everything down there, so, but that's private enterprise. So, you know,
If you got something you spit into, you still got that smell
Well,
somewhat.
well,
So
think about it. I'll pass out the stuff that Brenda ran off for us, and we will make the corrections that we were given here. And then when we come back, if we can get this thing narrowed down. What?
I don't know where I read it at in the book, but it says something about driving, you can drive with 0.04% alcohol.
Well, I don't remember that.
It don't say anything about being drunk in a truck with being a passenger or working. It just says the driver can't be over 0.04 in this book somewhere.
Where is it? Because it must be in the old,
the
must be
employee
in the
part.
old book.
Look at the table of contents.
I saw, hold on, I think I saw that too.
Here's the vehicle use policy.
Drug and alcohol free, 10.4. 10.4.
Yep.
10.4 should be where that's at.
Drug and alcohol, 10.4.
Yeah,
Maybe I was sure put duty remaining
it's page 17, bottom.
or greater.
Doesn't say anything about working drunk.
Maybe it's supposed to be 0.
Yeah. Bottom paragraph, beginning of it. No driver shall report for duty or remain on duty requiring the performance of driving a motor vehicle while having an alcohol blood concentration of .04 or greater.
That's not in the part for them to sign though in the back.
No. What's our legal counsel say on that?
Say 0.00.
That would include marijuana or whatever too.
Right,
Yeah, you have to add that now.
Test positive, but you don't know if he's high or not.
right,
Zero tolerance. The whole industry.
yep,
Yeah.
Better idea. Zero tolerance.
all right.
Drugs or alcohol, alcohol or drugs. Is that on page 17?
All right,
That should be put over into the manual part that they sign then too.
right, we'll have to come up.
You know, on that, it's just, everything starts with no driver, but it don't say anything about any worker.
How about employee?
You know,
We
and it
can-
don't say anything about the guy that's,
Employee or something?
Yeah, I should say employee.
it should, yeah, it should say,
I'm gonna put worker, I'll strike driver,
put employee,
employee.
yeah, because otherwise it's just a driver, a guy running, mowing grass could be going to Sam's getting a cord every hour.
Big 40 in a brown paper bag.
This was made up when the
Fatty.
drunk laws were a lot higher, you know.
No, this was passed in 2011, this first bit. And it covered a lot of stuff I felt that we really didn't need to reinvent.
Yeah.
So, nope, I'm good with everything. Anything else? Yeah.
I got a bunch of stuff.
Oh.
Sorry. Sorry, you're not sorry. Some specifics, on section 6.1, that would be on page 14 in the green divider. You have this thing, this whole Article 6 evaluations, and this is kind of going to be a running theme of thoughts that I have from an organizational perspective, maybe somewhat from a legal perspective. And I would say, do you want that in there? Because you don't have a point leader for the township that can do that. The only way you can do that is if the trustees, either individually or in committee, does that. And if you're putting it in your policies, you're saying you're going to do that. And so then if you don't do that and you have to fire someone and you haven't done that, then you got a major problem. The evaluations
Yeah, it says the township department heads will be evaluated.
will be evaluated. So who's going to do that? That's the question. So
Right.
you don't have an administrator who's the boss of
Right.
each of your department heads. And I'm just, and this is the running theme when it comes to, I understand that the auditor and everybody wants to have all these policies, but it really puts you three in the jackpot because you really got to know these things and you really got to stick by them and you really got to follow up on them because some of these things, that rule for evaluations is not only the ability from the top down to evaluate and have grounds to reassign, demote, hire, fire, whatever. But it also can become a right of the employee when they say, well, how can you fire me? You're supposed to evaluate me. You haven't even told me anything that I've done wrong officially by way of evaluation. So, this is improper. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to have it there. I mean, you can have it there, but it's really,
If we have it there, we gotta back it up.
yeah, exactly. So that's really all I'm highlighting there. And that's up to you guys. I mean, but that's one thing I noticed. Another thing I noticed is
I think Jim Newhouse, getting the trustee, get that at like the annual. I remember when I was first officer, they cooked the heads of the department back in the room and get a review. Was you part of that?
Yeah.
And then it kind of disappeared.
Kind of disappeared. This here, it still might have been something that was in from not even 2011 before, because we did have an administrator.
Right.
Right.
I think went away in 2008 or 2009 because it kind of went away when I came aboard.
We used to take them back there and talk to them. Each beginning of the year, just like our organizational meeting, we'd talk to like Harry.
Right.
Right.
And,
Well,
We can discuss that further, just maybe, well, that'll be something we have to do every year.
Food for thought.
all right.
Some other things. Holidays. Okay, so currently,
Where are you at now?
well, a couple of different places, and that's problem number 2 with the holiday issue. But start on page 23, section 11.2.
I saw that too. Matt.
We don't have all the holidays anymore, do we?
Well, I didn't even look at that specifically, but that's really not the issue.
What's the issue?
The issue is currently the way that, maybe it's wrong, but the way that my office functions when we get payroll from the firefighters is if a part-time firefighter works shifts on a holiday and they get paid the equivalent of a time and a half of their hourly wage by virtue of the fact that it's on a holiday. They don't make overtime, but they do get paid time and a half for working on what would be a holiday. That's not contemplated in this document because, I mean, you can see in the first sentence, it plainly says this section applies to all full-time employees. And the only full-time employees we have are the specifically designated full-time firefighters. So you'll want to decide, do you want that practice that we currently have to continue? And if so, that needs to be modified.
But and it does say in the fire section of this, after page 29, that fire employees will be paid holiday pay for 10 holidays.
You said 29?
It's not numbered, it's after 28.
It's not numbered, it's
You're-
after
you're-
28. It's-
Well, what it says is whose tour falls on the following holidays will be compensated at their overtime rate. However, a part-time employee by definition does not have an overtime rate.
No,
You see what I'm saying?
yes, but it's a time and a half rate.
Right.
I see
But
what you're saying.
But overtime rate is a term of art.
Right,
It means something other than what you are intending it to mean.
yep.
Now, that's a good segue into issue number 2 I have with the holiday section and many, many other sections. So I think that when you have a document that was created related to the fireman employment policies, basically, that you guys worked a long time on, and in this book, as a set of policies and procedures, that's merely stacked behind the, these other older employee
Right,
policies.
but on the holidays here, it just says full-time employees, it doesn't say firefighters.
Well, my point is, you have,
That's why we added the section back here, the full-time firefighter paramedic employment
Yeah.
policy.
We don't even have any.
so you're right about that, but there's other instances where I just think it's a lot of it is really, really duplicitous. I mean, you have things that are
Okay,
possibly
well,
covered twice. It may be more of a form issue, but I don't know that it necessarily is, because the purpose of the document as a whole is to create expectations and then ultimately to possibly hold people to account.
Right.
And if you're trying to hold people to account and you have multiple different parts of it where they can point to and say, well, yeah, but then you just got an argument and a fight on your hands, where you want it to be as concise and solid and clear as possible.
Well, would you be willing to do that on this piece? Because you know more about this than I do. This is out of my league.
Yeah, I mean, I can work on it. The problem is, part of the problem is, you know, we're dealing with things that were generated in different word processing programs over a couple of different decades.
We can't.
I mean, if it was in my, if it was in my umbrella to create generally, probably what I would do is either myself or someone spend a lot of time ultimately, and this is grandiose, but I would just retype the whole thing into one document. And then you're able to do that. But we don't really have an employee set up to do that with the time that it would take to do such things.
Right.
But it's just a cautionary.
Well,
It's just a cautionary comment to be careful of things that could be duplicitous, because if there's slight nuances and differences between like that whole section behind here that's fire specific related, and then the employee manual in general, if there's slight differences, then I'm just trying to think of what problems may come up down the road because of it.
Well, I'm thinking out loud here. Suppose we just did away with the whole front section, and we just have the firefighter policy, and draft our other policies that we were talking about here, the employee drug and alcohol policy and everything that we got in the back, and just concentrate on those and not have all this other stuff that I just tried to just put in here because I didn't want to reinvent everything.
Yeah, it's a hard question
I mean,
because
because we would have basically more policies to go on than what we currently have, and it would be easier to follow. And so would we be better off just doing that until we get to the point in our life where we have more staff and we have a township administrator and stuff, that we do something with it?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, because again, my comments are intended to be cautionary. They may just simply be borrowing trouble. I mean, you have things like, here's an example. I mean, you got some things in here that I think are good in that section that quite frankly would never come to any of our minds of, oh yeah, let's put that in there. For instance, like, you know, the garnishment child support, you know, or, you know, cash advance policy. I mean, I think those things are good, you know, and we would never think to,
Right.
you know, put them in. I don't know. And you know, maybe the idea is, you know, what we're dealing with is a good start, and I'm just talking about stylistic or form things. Maybe it might be a good question for your attorney, because really, I acknowledge that I'm tiptoeing around the line of kind of my bailiwick in this,
Yeah.
and
Well,
and
you know,
over into the legal,
We
and
have
I
way
get it.
more information on, I mean, I don't have any experience in this.
I thought I had one more.
I don't have the
I-
document in front of me, so I'm not.
Well, I know, but I didn't give you a document because I wanted to get all this stuff in one spot and then give it to you.
I have a couple of other specific though you might want to consider. On page 24, I have a couple of them of that front section in the first tab. My first question is, and this I guess is a joint question to you guys and to Chief Davis, do we have personal leave days?
We don't.
Okay, so I think 11.4 can just be in its
Deleted.
whole stricken. That's a separate category of PTO
Okay.
that we won't be tracking. Can't believe you didn't catch that, Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good thing I was here.
Well, I got something else.
All right.
The other one right underneath that is military leave. So I don't have a major issue with it. My only problem is we do have guardsmen that work in the firefighters and or reservists, guardsmen or reservists, And we've had this document, I think, was probably written in a peacetime or something, because it contemplates a leave of absence for active duty training days, which all guardsmen and reservists have during the year. It says up to 30 days, but it does not contemplate active duty military orders that would constitute what I would call a deployment. And we've actually had that happen.
Yeah.
And I would propose that the document, instead of saying active duty training for periods not to extend 30 calendar days per year, that basically what that's saying is that you don't get a leave of absence if your orders take you past 30 days. Now, I'll tell you right now, in our system, the chief, myself, I mean, we've honored a leave of absence for the duration of the man's deployment, which I think is proper and reasonable. So I would propose that it say not to exceed 30 calendar days per year. I would say active duty training for periods
Well, that's
of the
training,
duration.
but you could put another sentence in there saying on an active
Active
call-up.
duty.
All you would have to say is just for the duration of active duty orders, because that covers the training. Like, they get orders, they get active duty orders when you go for your 2 weeks or your month.
Active duty orders.
Yeah, for active duty orders. Now, sometimes, I happen to know from my own personal experience, there can be times at a guard base or a reservist base where, there are active duty orders available to serve locally or whatever. And I think that would be a situation where if that policy ever were to be abused, because someone says, oh, I really don't want to work these next 2 weeks or weeks, I really don't want to work, I'm going to go find me some orders, that can be addressed later on. But I don't think that's a common thing. And I think if you just put it as for the duration of active duty orders, it covers both long-term deployment and typical training. That's just my suggestion. And that's based on my own personal experience being a guardsman.
Yeah, I like that too.
And I think that's all I have for now.
I got, going back, 2 pages past page 28.
Okay,
It said employee who's toward duty fall on a following holiday. Why can't we get, say, full-time and part-time employees? That, maybe we can cover that there, I don't know.
where we're at now, you're on holidays.
Yeah, on holiday, on the top.
Say that again, Chuck?
What page?
It's not.
He's on the firefighters section, the second page.
Past 28, it's not
He's
normal.
under the holidays section.
Top of the page. It says employees full-time or part-time.
You know, be out in the dark all the time.
So I could cover mountain people too. Now they get paid time and a half when they remove snow. We got that in the policy.
Well, that's basically a rate that was set up in the salary schedule.
Right. So maybe we can set up in a salary session that part-time who work on a holiday get time and a half. Get like the snow remover. Wouldn't that be about
Could.
the same?
I mean, could. I think we'd be better. I think that would be better suited to be in the policies and procedures, because that's the document that a person gets when they're hired. You know what I mean? Like, someone can look through it and say, this is what I can expect to be paid on what type of days. Whereas snow removal, it's a little different, because it's just it's a particular pay rate for a particular, job duty. But that's just me. It doesn't
We could
have
say
to be that
all,
way.
all part-time employees, not get maintenance or in fire department, whoever. So,
I mean, you probably, you probably should address that township wide with the holidays, because, you know, like I told Jamie, she's my direct report, and basically what I told her as we sit here right now, you know, verbally person to person, is if it's a holiday, you don't have to come in to work. You're not working hours. You know, you don't have the obligation to come in and work, enjoy your holiday, but obviously you're not working hours. So, and I think traditionally, typically for a part-time employee, that's your benefit for a holiday. It's basically unpaid leave, essentially.
Yeah.
However, it's a little bit different for fire because it's an emergency service where we have to have people on duty, and because of their employment, they don't have the right to say, "Nah, chief, I'm out." You know, well, they actually kind of do the way it's set up with part-time, but it's just a different type of work. So, but you may want to make that clear, because I mean, in theory, someone could, you know, if the 4th of July comes on a day that typically, as a matter of practice, the maintenance guys are in, you know, someone could come in and say, "Hey, it's on my work day. I'm coming in. Where's my time and a half?" You know what I mean? But and that may be fine if that's what the trustees want to do, but I would spell it. I'd just spell it out and make it clear.
yeah, I'll be up because the supervisor is Jim Newhouse. What? Only some of your employees can get a snowplow, right? Not everyone can get a snowplow. Is that correct? So
I'm talking
if
about
you
holidays,
need help,
Chuck.
if you need help remove the snow, Jim basically needs to depend on volunteers, or can you?
I don't know what you're asking, Chuck.
You'll go after.
Can all of your employees plow snow?
Well, with the problems we had this time, yeah, we took all those, we had to have two in a truck to fix things that would go. So, yeah, right now, one thing we did is that we got newer guys, and I've been switching them and different ones driving so they can learn, you know, what to do when they go out there. You know, have one guy learn, teach, and other guy drive, you know, especially with that big snow, because nobody. But yeah, we were all in.
I guess Jason the same way. If you can't get full-time employees, you would actually ask a part-time employee to come in on holiday.
They had the option to sign up,
Yeah.
and
So you're both in
quite a
the
few do.
so you're both in the same bucket. That, you know, if you need help, you need to
Yes.
go after somebody.
Okay. Anything else?
I'm done.
You done? Everybody else pretty much done? All right, I'll pass out the extra copies up here to go in the book, and then I'll take and work on the stuff that was brought to my attention. And if I'm in over my head, I'll be asking some of you guys to help me out. So I have my limitations, and that's all I can say. So I'll hand these out at the end of the meeting. Other than that, I think we're finished.
Thanks for working on that, Dennis. Any other concerns? So then our next regular business meeting will be January,
That's
February
type.
10th.
February 10th,
Yeah.
2025 at 7 p.m. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion.
Second?
Roll call.
Lohman,
Yes.
Hyam,
Yeah.
Heiss.
Yes.
8:49,
I get
8:50.
all these stuff corrected.
Got it.
I'll get you a binder. Okay. Sorry. Well, I figured no use giving you one right now.
No.
Because we're still progress